Okay, so this is the September meeting of the Patient Research Partner Group. And I've got a few updates, not a whole lot of updates, but enough that it's been keeping me busy. So the CMS told us to rectify the conflict of interest and the recruitment partner before they would allow for us to start recruiting patients into the research. So we have been at work trying to figure those things out, and I'll give you an update on each one. So the DUA with Community Psychology Health Collaborative, which was Melinda and Aaron and Sonja, that's been quashed. So we went and did a request for proposals or RFP that we sent out to 3 organizations. All 3 of them responded and were interviewed by me. We talked about the project. We talked about what we've done so far, what we want to do moving forward, and explained exactly what CPHC was doing for the project and said, we just need you to step in and do exactly what they were doing. So one of the organizations said, we don't have the staffing to do what you're asking for us to do for 350 patients over the course of a year. The other said, we have the staffing, but that's not enough money for us to make anything on this project. The third one was a transplant organization. So they were willing to sacrifice the amount of money that some of the other companies would like to make in order to do a project that's specifically around transplant and being led by a recipient and a group of recipients like you and the other PRPs. So their organization is called Transplant Families, and we have got all of the paperwork submitted to UIC to get them listed as a subcontracted consultant for the program. I heard back from the Office of Sponsored Programs at UIC today saying that they have some questions about the protocol that might impact what's going on with the consultant, to which I say, our protocol's been approved by the IRB. So I don't want you to change anything because we already have to go back to the IRB and remove a few names and replace a few names. So I'm like, if you have issues, at least give them all to me now, so that when we go back to the IRB, we only have to go back once. Okay, so right now, we need to tell the IRB that we're going to take off CPHC and put in transplant families. We need to tell the IRB that we want to take out the ESRD network, which CMS would not allow to provide us the information that we needed to identify patients, and we want to replace them. So update on that. We heard back from Associates in Nephrology, the nephrology practice in Chicagoland, that they want to be a partner. We submitted that information with the information that we want to send back to CMS so that they know we have at least one partner that is going to allow for us to recruit patients from their practice to be potential participants in our research. However, if their market share is 30%, I'd be surprised. The Nephrology Associates of Northern Illinois, or NANI, they are bigger than AIN. So we reached out to them as well. They came back and said, okay, we like your research. We're ready to go. However, we want you to sign our research contract. Usually UIC is sending their research contract to entities that are going to subcontract. So the lawyers are going to have to get together and figure out which one of these supersedes. And I don't know how that's going to work out. So they want to be a partner along with AIN, but we don't know if that's going to work out just yet. But if you remember back, we said we wanted to work with nephrology practices as well as dialysis centers. So we submitted the research to Fresenius and DaVita, who own the vast majority of those dialysis centers on the south and west side. And DaVita came back and said, you're good to go. However, you need to contact all of the medical directors of each one of those dialysis facilities and get their okay to recruit out of their patient population, which is no small task.
Yeah.
So
I mean, how many would that approximately?
So it's 59.
There you go.
So I've been negotiating with them. First, can I do this by email as opposed to by phone? And they said, sure, we can work with that. And then I said, do I have to interact with each and every one of them? Or is there another way that we could do it? And they said, as long as you put in information within the text of the email that says, if you don't respond with a dissent, then we believe you're assenting. You're going to allow for us to do this. And I said, perfect. I can write that in there. So I drafted 2 paragraphs, sent that in to DaVita, and they are looking through that to make sure that if nobody responds within 2 weeks, that means that we're good to go with recruiting from their area, and then we need a subcontract with them. I don't know if they want us to sign the DaVita contract or if they're going to take the UIC contract and sign it. That's just one more hoop to jump through. As for Fresenius, we are still waiting to hear back after they had a meeting of their research team. So we got preliminary approval from the research team that they were in on it. But then the physicians that are part of a research panel, it's kind of like an IRB, but not. They had to meet, get a presentation of the research from our contact and give us a determination back. We're still waiting to hear from them. What I did confirm is that if Fresenius comes on, they're not going to charge us. If DaVita comes on, they are going to charge us. So for each one of the participants that they interact with, that person says that they would like to hear from us in terms of what our informed consent is and ask us any questions, each one of those people is going to cost us around $15. I'm willing to deal as long as I can get our numbers up to where we need it. So if we get both AIN and NANI to send us their patients over the course of a year, we should be able to hopefully pull about 100 to 150 out of that. But we truly need DaVita and Fresenius if we want to hit the 350 mark that we were intending to meet when we started out on this. So we want everybody to come along on this adventure, and we'll if we gotta pay or if we gotta make lawyers get into a room and hash it out, we'll do what we gotta do. I don't see the Fresenius and DaVita being quick, but I do see NANI and AIN being a little bit faster. So right now we are pushing forward with getting UIC to agree to the protocol and then getting CMS to check off on the protocol, the new recruitment strategy, and the new consultant. So we are planning a meeting for next week on Tuesday with the Office of Sponsored Programs at UIC. and the research team that I've been leading through this. Hopefully we can get everything hashed out. We can get that documentation submitted to CMS, and I would love to be able to hear back from CMS by Thursday so that I can give a true and real update on exactly where we stand. The new consultant, Melissa McQueen, is the head of Transplant Families. I've invited her to the Thursday meeting so that she can at least be an observer and see what our dynamic is, see what our team looks like, and things like that. But she won't be in an official capacity as the consultant until all the paperwork is done. So she'll just kind of monitor and ask questions on the back end.
Sounds good. That's the 5th, right? October 5th.
The meeting is the first Thursday, so I believe that's October 5th.
Yeah.
So for that hour and a half, we're going to spend some of it giving an update, give some of it introducing Melissa and Transplant Families. And then we're going to take a look at the survey to the transplant centers to make sure everybody is okay with the survey before we send it out. Understanding that until CMS releases us to continue with the research, we can't send out the survey. We can get the survey ready and have our fingers on the button, but we can't send the survey out just yet.
Got it. That's exciting. I can't wait to have a chance to speak to Melissa. It's cool.
Any questions, my friend?
No, I mean, like I mentioned when we jumped on the call, man, we appreciate sort of all the heavy lifting, and if there's anything more that I can do to help, but that's a lot of like you mentioned, it's a lot of work, man. You've been grinding, that's for sure.
It's my job.
You're doing it, man. Exciting stuff. Yeah, I'm actually on the Transplant Families website now to kind of get familiar with them a little bit. I like to be able to meet her and have a little insight, so that'd be helpful.
They have done a lot of work with pediatric transplant patients, but they see difficulty because, yeah, it's easier for a pediatric patient to get a transplant. They get higher priority.
Yeah.
But that transplant, especially if they're getting transplanted like 4, 5, 6 years old, by the time they're adults and they're in the same system that we're in, now you're an adult who previously had a transplant. And that makes it a little bit harder for you to find a place that's willing to do a retransplant and work with the vasculature that you're dealing with now. So they've been focused in on kids that are anywhere from birth all the way up until like 22 or 24. And she feels like that back end, that 18 to 24, are the ones that really, really need intervention that allows for them to know what their options are and prioritize them, which is exactly what we're doing.
And I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that age is, I mean, when I was that age, right? I mean, there was so much I thought I knew, but didn't know anything. So being there during that, I think would be influential.
We were still thinking Reebok Classics was the way to go on the feet, right? We didn't know no better, bro.
Reebok Classics. I love that. Yeah, I mean that's awesome. So they have a pretty large team over at Transplant Families. I'm looking through their site now. They got a pretty large team and board, so that's good. So they're certainly look like they'll be great partners.
Yeah, they've done some research previously within the transplant space, so nothing that we've asked them has been out of the ordinary. In order for a consultant to be listed as a subcontractor on a federally funded grant, as ours is, they have to be listed on SAM.gov, which makes them a government provider, and they were already listed. which
Mm,
saves
nice.
so much time. It just
Yeah.
protracted the whole thing. They already had a FWS, they already had a FDP in process, all of the things that the government would have required just from them knowing what transport, what consulting for research projects is and engaging with that previously. It made things a lot easier.
Nice. That's awesome.
Cool. I
Exciting
am going
stuff.
to stop recording.